everyone. Hey, everybody. Welcome to That's Good Stuff, and that's game stuff this time. It's been a while since we did a gaming podcast. What happened when we were gone? Lots of stuff, but here's something that happened. A man in Saudi Arabia connected 444 gaming consoles to one TV. That is a Guinness World Record.
Oh my god!
There you go.
Why?
Why?
I want to see. I want to
TV
see.
like instantly die or what?
No, it's still there. It's still chugging on. That's a lot of splitters, though. What else happened? Well, the big news was the PS5 Pro was introduced to the world for $700. Big buckaroos. It comes with no hard drive. And
Comes with
from
2
what
terabytes of SSD.
Yeah.
oh, not hard drive. What I'm thinking disk drive.
Oh,
it comes
yeah,
with
yeah,
no
yeah, you gotta
disk
buy
I was like, no
drive.
hard.
I was like,
No.
It's the Xbox 360 all over
Oh
again.
god.
No disk drive, and what I've heard, better or a little better graphics, and most people are wondering about that price tag, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the consumers as the disk drives have been selling out for the PS5. So people are preparing. Is it the most expensive gaming console ever? I don't know. It's debatable. There's
Not
been
because of
some
inflation, but
But
Limited
also,
edition.
have you played a PC?
well,
he said
I wouldn't call that a
console,
console.
Oh,
Yes.
console. Sorry.
I mean, you could also say maybe that Apple VR headset. That's like
That's not really
$3,000.
for gaming, though.
$3,000.
It's way more for like interactivity and junk.
And then you have
What
some
is it
limited-
for though? Like, really?
It's for an iPad on your face. That's all it is.
It's to get away from the world. There's been some limited edition PlayStations and stuff that's gone over 1,000, but like the OG expensive console was the what do you call it? The Philips CDI came out at $1,000 with
Oh my!
yeah.
When?
I was about to say,
Oh, wow.
when is the question for that?
Like in
Um,
the 80s?
I think it was that. Let's check it out. So CDI, of course, known for terrible Zelda games, right?
The best.
But also, if you adjust that $1,000 for inflation, it's more around almost 2,000. It's like 1,900. So when that came out, yeah, those came out around 1990.
Jeez.
Okay. I was like, I've never heard of that, but that was like the year I was born. So
Other ones, if you adjust, other ones haven't been that expensive, but if you adjust for inflations, are like the Atari Jaguar. I think was 600 when it came out. So that's like
I thought that one was almost 1,000.
It was 700, but if you adjust for inflation, it goes up to almost 1,000. Other one, PS3 was pretty expensive when it came out.
600,
So
which is
600,
1,000, but inflation today.
$5.99, and the Xbox 360 was $350, I think, or $399. I remember I got mine at $300 because that's when I bought it. Of course, I had to buy like 12 other things with it, but you know, I got the console.
Neo Geo, that was up there. I think that was like 400 or something like that. So, anyone interested in the PS5 Pro?
No.
I'm not interested at all. I like had a slight like if it's not terrible, I'll get it, but I don't really have a need for it or a desire for it. And the price, I was like, I mean, everyone kind of boxed the price, but like if you try and get a gaming PC that's going to do what it's going to do, you're going to pay at least $1,400. It's like it's expensive, but it's also like I don't feel like they're expecting like it's not for main people. Like they also put in there, which everyone else is not mentioning, which I think is very cool, is they're refurbishing PS5s to sell for $350. So they're gonna have like new PS5s not new, but you know, refurbished by them.
Refurbished.
But it's like it's for me, I'm like, I don't want it, I don't care for it, but I'm glad they made the step to it being more powerful for the people that do. Like rather than just like, hey, we're gonna have a tiny iteration that's gonna be like $100 worth. They at least put some stuff into it that made them feel like it's worth more for enthusiasts or someone who has too much money to spend. So I don't know. It's not for me though.
Which is like nobody
people
right
that
now.
don't want to build a computer and
Yeah, just for like rich doctors that are
Collectors.
single.
Probably that guy in Saudi Arabia that needs to connect
he
another
needs to do
console.
400 and something PS5 Pros.
I mean, I still have my PS5 that has the disc drive, and I never want to give it up because, like, I like my disc drive. It
Give it to
plays
me now.
4K. No, mine.
And then Ubisoft's woes continue as their stock was downgraded. Outlaw's sales were worse than they were expecting, and investors are urging them to go private. So,
Huh.
we'll see how
Investors are like, you need to shut up and make better games.
we'll see how Shadows do, if that helps it or not.
Probably be banned in Japan, honestly.
So it hasn't been all bad news this year because a gaming company actually got resurrected since it died in 2007. And that, of course,
Not what I thought you were talking
was Argonaut Games, which is now known just as Argonaut. But you can see some of the games they made popular. Of course, they were the ones that made the Star Fox with the chip, or what am I thinking of, Jared? The FX chip in it, right?
Oh, like for the Super NES?
Yeah.
Crap, I don't remember.
Yeah. Boy. So we see some of the games, Ren and Stimpy the Fire Dog. So there you go. Scooby-Doo Mystery. Here's the one Michael was excited about. Croc Legends.
Ooh. Love Croc.
Good old Croc.
Here's one Jared likes. Buck Bumble.
Buck Bumble.
Dude, Scooby-Doo Mystery? Hell yeah.
The Emperor's New Groove, the game. I didn't even know they had one.
I didn't either.
Alien Resurrection. They did some Harry Potter games.
The 2 is a beloved game, man.
2 is awesome. That game was great.
The Bionicle game, which has still got a fan base somehow. I mean,
Oh, hell yeah. The Catwoman, the game.
Oh, no.
And they helped release that Star Fox 2 game. So, and they're doing the remaster of Croc. So you'll get to. The question is the gummy lifesavers going to be in the game, or are they going to replace those with something? Because that was like a big part of that game. It was just like ad for gummy lifesavers. All right, so that's all I have for the news this time. So we're going to get into gaming, and since Alex is here as a guest, he joins us again. You might remember him from our House 6 podcast. So, but he's back to talk about games, and he won't really.
He was on the very first That's Good Stuff, though.
That's true. Long
The
time
game of the
ago.
year.
We talked about the bear and stuff like that.
Yeah, I still haven't really seen it. So,
but he wanted to talk about some games that he just completed. So go ahead, Alex.
yes. So I was pulled back into the fold because the gravity of these games was too much. Has anyone here besides Michael, and I know Jared's played some of it, is played Ghostrunner?
I have not.
I have downloaded it. I've yet to start it up.
So I had them both through PlayStation Plus for the first and second one. The second one came out last year in November, I think, or October. And I've seen Michael's been trying to get me to play these for a little while, but they're just I literally can't think of anything that is more pure perfect gameplay than these games. It's so the whole idea is that it's a first person game and you play as a cyber punk ninja, and a lot of the buttons are or a lot of the moves are basically on the shoulder buttons. So like you jump with R1 on PlayStation, and then the whole idea is it's very linear. Like you go through these narrow, like either corridors or whatever, and you can kill people, but you can like dash and like slow down time and just like swing around them and kill them. And it is almost a perfect game. Like the level design for everything, where it's so like you rarely don't know where to go because it's so linear. It's very like I said, like corridor based. And in a world where we have so many like open worlds or, stuff, and I like open world games, but it's just really refreshing because it's just the whole game is an adrenaline shot. It's like there's no like, stupid Final Fantasy remake where you have to go pick the stupid flowers with Aerith or any crap like that made me stop playing the game. But but and also it's not long. It's like I think it takes you like 10 hours to beat, and like I platinum it. Maybe online it says like 12 hours to platinum, but I think it took me like 15 or something like that. I miss those games personally. I'm like all these games are way too long. But then transitioning to Ghostrunner 2, started playing it pretty much right after. And I don't know what happened here, because it's like they got, I don't know, a big wig non-creative guy up top that says like, what is in other games? And instead of it just being an adrenaline shot of like corridor after corridor or level after level. Oh, and something I forgot to mention about the first game is that all the story is told to you through people talking to you because you're cyberpunk android or something. So I assume they're talking to you through comms in your head or something. And the entire story is delivered just through that. There's not even little pictures of them popping up like with their faces being like, oh, this is freaking Jerry talking to me. It's like, no, it's just dialogue. And I love that delivery method for the story, because it's like you're just playing the game and you can pay attention if you want to the story, because the story's pretty cool. But it doesn't get in the way at all. And man, it gets in the way in the second game, even though I like the second game a lot for different reasons in a lot of ways. And there's still like the same like type of gameplay. The gameplay is very similar, but they break it up into you have these stupid hub center. It's like the rebels hideout basically, where you can go to and you can talk to all your freaking teammates like it's Mass Effect. And I'm like, that's great in Mass Effect, but it ruins the momentum in my opinion. Yeah, Jared.
I think this is a lot like Mirror's Edge 1 and 2, where Mirror's Edge 1 was just like a straightforward game that was really cool. And then the second one, you do have like a hub kind of place where you get like missions and stuff. And you're just like, I wish it was just mission to mission kind of.
Yeah. I was thinking about that because I know our friend loves Mirror's Edge 1, and then he wasn't crazy about 2. And I keep telling him to play this game because speaking of Mirror's Edge, it's very similar in gameplay too. It's, it's a single player game that has like kind of like parkour-ish elements. And it just feels a lot better than Mirror's Edge in my opinion to play. But yeah, 2, and it's not fully open world like Mirror's Edge 2 is, but there are open areas that it's like, I kind of grew to like it, but it's not focused. Like there were a couple times where I was frustrated because I was like, wait, where do I go? Like, and it's not that often, but it's just like in my opinion, you did not understand the first game. Whoever headed this one or whatever they decided to do, because it really does feel like, hey, what's cool in games? Let's have a hub world. And then let's have you where you can have all these. I skipped almost every conversation you can have with anyone. Like they have luckily in the little hideout that you have, they have the main mission in yellow, and I was just like, I'm going to that every single time. I do not care to talk to these stupid people.
Hey buddy, shut up! Got to go to the mission.
Yep, yeah, literally, yeah. I'm walking right past them because there's these 2 guards that will talk every time you pass, and it's like, nope. And also the dialogue. Oh yeah, go ahead, Thomas.
So this is just a question about personal, like, what do you call it? Preferences, I guess. Do you prefer like your UI to be very just streamlined, just 1 or 2 things on there, maybe a map and then what do you call it? An objective and then ammo counter, whatever. That's it.
As opposed to something that has a lot more,
like Assassin's Creed. Like name a new one, like the Valhalla one, for example, where the first like 5 minutes of the gameplay that I walked into, the UI was basically just like, guess what? Icons galore, and you can't really see anything. It's just like, there's just too much.
Or any kind of like multiplayer game nowadays, you press pause and there's like 50 menus and like like 80 choices, and you're just like,
Yeah.
Was it Call of Duty Modern Warfare? I couldn't find my way through the multiplayer menus. I was like, where are you guys at? Like, oh, we're in this part. I'm like, I don't know where you guys are at. Like, I'm
also old.
I don't know how to navigate the menu to get to where you are.
I'm also old. It can't see, and the text is always like tiny.
Yeah.
And I have to get to my TV.
Text is tiny now.
So is it kind of like from the first Ghostrunner to the second Ghostrunner, there's just like too much of an overload on the second one? Or this wasn't a lot that wasn't needed that worked really well in the first one?
Yeah, it's complicated because I agree with you with the UI. Like, I prefer nothing if ideally if you can make that work. Um, I have Michael's. I'm sure tired of it. I have long complained anytime I get on Warzone that I hate Call of Duty
It's
UI.
terrible because
I hate their menus. I hate their UI. I hate everything about it.
Their menus,
the game's
okay.
good.
Their menus reminded me of like getting lost in Netflix. Like, I don't know where I'm at anymore. Like, I don't know what category I'm in. I don't even know how I found this page anymore. So
yeah, it's it's not like that at all. Like, that's not the problem, but I can kind of see what you're saying, I think, where they like the UI is pretty much identical. Like, I have no problem with the UI in either game, but what you're saying is that they added so much more to the game that was so unnecessary. And the second one clearly has a much bigger budget. Like, it looks way better. And but here's the thing: is I'm conflicted because there are things that surprise me. You get a motorcycle in this game, which is not at all like the first game. And there are some
You had a
missions.
horse.
yeah, a cyberpunk ninja on a horse. And
that sounds awesome.
yeah. But the second, like, so when it introduced the bike, which I had actually realized in a menu in the controls, if you go to the controls in the menu, because also they changed the controls where they, like I said, you have R1 to jump, which leaves you free to look around with the right stick because you need to, obviously a lot, and they changed it to X in the second game by default because they added more stuff. Like, you can actually block bullets in the second game to a certain extent. And so I immediately went to the controls and changed it back to what I liked from the first game. But then I saw it said bike, and I was like, oh, weird. I guess you're going to get a motorcycle at some point. And when you do, I got to say I didn't hate it. In fact, I kind of loved it. Like, it is the best feeling vehicle, I think, in any game I've ever experienced, because it's a lot of the levels are with the motorcycle are basically like the levels where you're jumping around and platforming, but it's just with a motorcycle. It's very adrenaline seeking. But then there's also this big, there is one open world section of the game where you traverse and go to these different towers and like activate some stuff, and that and use the motorcycle to get throughout all that. And I didn't hate that either. It's weird. This game almost, I don't know, it's Stockholm syndrome, but I just kind of like grew to like a lot of it, even though I don't prefer it to the first one.
How long have you been trapped in that room, Alex?
Yeah, exactly. I've been playing it for 9 days straight.
Did you platinum the second one?
No, I'm almost done platinuming the second one. But it takes a lot longer because the game is longer, and it's has some open world areas which take a lot of time to get the collectibles and stuff. So
maybe they were like, hey, there's a lot of stuff we want to do with the first one, but we couldn't. So
yeah,
let's put it all in the second one. Because
that would be hard for me to believe, just because the design of the first game is so realized, in my opinion.
Tight.
Yeah, it's tight. It's very tight. And tight in both senses of the word. But then in the second one, but even when I did that whole open world area, it was weird. It kind of won me over because a lot of the dialogue is really bad in the second one compared to the first one. The first one's played very straight. And the second one, it's like, I've been hearing this a lot about, like, Marvel style dialogue and all this kind of stuff. And so it seems like a lot of people are becoming, I don't know, along the same opinion, where it's like, it's kind of like in is it the second Avengers, I think, where like Hawkeye says something like, it's like, yeah, he's like, I'm a guy with a bow in the middle of a war zone. That's a line everyone points to, where it's like, none of this makes sense. And it's like, you're calling out how ridiculous what your product is. And I do feel like I'm falling into that same thing, where I'm becoming like sensitive to those type of dialogue, where it's like, this is so lame. And the second game has a lot of that. But in this open area with the bike, I don't know, it kind of won me over. It almost felt very zen, like I was just riding this bike around and in this dystopian world. And I don't prefer it to the design of the first game, but it did kind of win me over. But I will say the gameplay, like even the gameplay I like, where you're jumping around and everything, does feel a lot better in the second game. And it looks way better. So I'm just like, man, like, if they can just tweak it, where even add the bike in the third one, because I think they're working on the third one, add the bike, but make it more streamlined, in my opinion, and you will have like the perfect game when it comes to gameplay. Because I mean, I can't gush about the first one enough. Like, I think it's more greatly realized gameplay than any other. Because I love traversal in gameplay, and that's what this game is with combat. Because there are certain sections that are just like traversal, where it's like get through this basically obstacle course. And then the second game, but then it also has combat in some areas where it's like mixing it, where it's traversal and an obstacle course and killing enemies. And another thing I love about this game is it's so like one more try kind of game. Like, it's literally made by a dev team named One More Level, if I remember right. It's something like that. Or what is it? Oh, shoot. It's something like that. And I love how it's like, as soon as you die, you can immediately respawn, and it's like the checkpoints are very generous. It's just about that repetition and learning the level, muscle memory, and it's great. But the second one, even though I did really come to appreciate it, I think that they interrupted you way too much with having to go. Not that you had to go back to the hub world very much, but it's just like it was like maybe one out of every 5 levels that you have to go back there, and it's like, you're ruining my flow here. And but yeah, we'll see what they can do with the third one. But they did kind of win me over, and I just wanted to come on, and because usually on our Game of the Year podcast, I like to talk about games that came out actually the year of, and so I appreciate you letting me on so I could gush about these games, because if you love gameplay, you got to play these. It's the first game is almost perfect. Yep.
So this is a question for you and Michael, I guess. Michael, have you played Ghostrunner?
Yeah, I platinumed the first one, and then the issues Alex has laid out is what keeps halting me in the second one. So like having the hub world, the first one's so perfect of it's like it presents the next level before you really have a choice to deny it. And so you're just like, okay, next one, okay, next one, okay, next one. In the second one, you finish your handful of levels where you're like, I could play more, but you get to the hub world, you kind of walk around like, I'll go ahead and turn it off for now. So I've gotten to the hub world maybe twice, and I was just like, I that halting just waste of, I'll be honest, it's a waste of freaking time walking around there. Like, you can get a different sword, you can play with that. It's like, no one cares about that in this. I don't care. You get in the first one, they have a menu where you unlock swords, you can change them in your little quick menu. But this, you have to have your little room. You gotta have your little like bunk.
No, you don't have to do that. You can change your sword in your menus. Yeah,
well, I guess you just unlock them in there, something like that. And there's like weird leveling.
Yeah,
stuff. I don't remember, but yeah, it just halted the pace so badly that I would turn it off every time I get to the hub world. And hub world.
Yeah, the hub world is virtually useless. Like that, you can change like I'm saying, you can change your sword. You can do everything. Like the hub world is basically a loading screen that you walk to the next main objective and watch a little cutscene. Yeah, it's useless.
Yeah. So
well. Only reason I ask is because I'm looking for another game to play, and I downloaded Cyberpunk 2077, and it is having the worst time with bugs. Like I have it on my PS5. I tried to load up a new game, and every time that V went like, all right, looks like it's smooth sailing. Every single time I had to completely clean out my PS5, make sure it wasn't overheating, because that was the issue. It was overheating. It was just killing my PS5 every time. And so I've got both of the Ghostrunners because it's like PlayStation Plus, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I have that. So I'm thinking I might give that a try then.
And they're so short. Like Alex said, the first one's a hand. Yeah. I think I beat the first one like 8.5 or 9 hours, something like that. Like you just kind of play in like sessions every night. It's like poof, done. Super fun.
Mm.
You know what is interesting? The developer Alex was talking about was One More Level, which was the developer on both of them. But on the first one, they had a second developer called Slipgate Ironworks. So,
that's right.
So the only one on the second one, though. So
they must have just got, like I said, I really think they just got a lot of funding, because the first one actually sold quite well.
Did great.
And then the second one sold really well too. But the budget shows in a good way a lot more in the second one. Well, I say that.
So maybe the second developer was like holding their hands in the first one, and they're like, "You can do it
free.
Yourself,
we believe in you."
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is the developers. They're like, "This is the game we actually wanted to make on the first go round." And again, I did really come to appreciate it. It is a great game. I just think that in a world that is so saturated with open world games and like open areas and slowing down the pace that you really could have stood out if you did this first game again, but just better. Because again, I think the gameplay is better in the second one, and visuals are better. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's all I have to say though.
Huh?
Do you have something, Jared?
Oh, I was gonna say, was one of your kind of complaints, not complaints, but gripes with the second one, that it forced you to with the story, or it stopped you for story elements? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, that is kind of like the hub world thing, and then it does stop you with cutscenes, which I'm not crazy about. Again, I love the way they deliver the story in the first one. It's another thing I forgot to mention about this game, the first one and the second one, they're both really good at this, is that one of the greatest pet peeves in games, it's so infuriating because it's such an easy fix in my mind, is when you let's say if you're pretty good at the game and you move quickly from let's say like there's a cutscene, whatever, and it ends, and then you can play, and then they're talking, and while they're talking while you're playing, you just quickly get to the next objective, and then there wasn't enough time for them to finish what they were saying before you get to the next objective, and they're cut off. And because sometimes I'll test it where I'll hit X on the next objective or whatever and see if they'll let them finish what they're saying, and then we go to the next thing. It is so infuriating in games. I'm like, I think that's really bad design in my opinion. I'm like, design, especially if it's a linear game. If it's open world, it's a little bit different. You can obviously stop and talk to anyone. But if it's a linear game and you did not let's see, what's the word? You did not account. Perfect. Thank you. Account for the time for me to be able to get from point A to point B, and for them to get what they had to say out. I'm like, that's bad design. I hate that. And these games are excellent at it, both of them. And like where they always allot you a certain amount of time for them to say what they have to say. But what I also like is that, let's say if you die in the middle of them, because again, they're, especially in the first game, but in the second game too, they're talking to you while you're playing. So if you die while they're talking, it can get annoying and repetitive, but they will jump back and restart that line of dialogue. So if it says it's like, yeah, we have to make it to the top of the tower because, and you die, and it's just like, and then you respawn, it's like, yeah, we have to make it to the top of the tower. So I think that's excellent design. That's one of the things I really wanted to point out about this game. But what you're saying, Jared, is yeah, it does interrupt you with cutscenes, which isn't ideal. But the main thing is, some of the open areas are annoying, but the main thing is the hub world. I'm like, why are you doing this? You are completely ruining the flow. Although, at least, like I said, there's that main objective point you can go immediately to. Because at first I was like, well, this is the game, so maybe I should explore and talk to these stupid people. And so I did that at first, and that really ruined the flow. And after that, I was like, no, I'm done. I'm running to that next objective. I'm getting out of here. And it, like I said, it's totally useless. Like, unless I guess you really want that extra world building by talking to the mechanic and all this kind of stuff. It's like, unless you really want that, it doesn't affect the game at all. You can just go to the main next point and just move on. But anyway, that's it.
Well, the bike a little better than the Mako. That is.
Oh yeah, it's way better. It feels really good. Because on the bike also you can swing your sword while you're riding, and then it also has a gun that you can do. You can boost. You can. Oh, and what's cool is that there's basically a grappling hook in both games, but in the second game, while you're on the bike, there'll be these like red lasers that are coming at you, and if you just ride through it, you're just gonna die getting hit by them. So you can press circle to jump off your bike, and then it'll fly up a ramp, and then while you're in the air, you can basically like Venom, where he like grabs the bike with his venom, but you can just grapple back to the bike. So their gameplay chops are so good in both games. They really stand out in my opinion. So
did you see that? I don't know if you said you saw like Mahler play Outlaws, right?
Yeah.
There was this time where the stormtrooper was like driving. He drives like right into a laser fence and dies. It just like explodes.
Did you see Mahler on that cutscene where Jabba the Hutt appears?
Oh, yeah.
And he just like dies laughing.
Lost it. Because like he played it so he was on Jabba's side because there's different factions. So at the end of the game, you expect like the rebels to come in and save the day, but it's actually Jabba the Hutt in a ship. And he just started cracking up because Jabba was there to save the day. All right, so Michael has maybe played the game of the year, so let's hear about that.
Whoa, dang, Sonny. Yeah, I finished and platinumed Astrobot last night, early this morning, maybe like 12:30. Don't remember. Yeah, this game is incredible. It's I have a few complaints, so I'll get to in the end, but like I talked a little bit about it in bonus stuff, but it's
And it was Astrobot.
did I not say Astrobot?
I don't know.
I don't know if I said it or not. Astrobot on PlayStation 5. But yeah, this game is just a pure delight. Like talking about something that respects like your just like keeping your attention. It's like, oh, it's so far from being repetitive in my opinion. Like I mean, it's 3D platformer. You're going across levels, you're doing puzzles and gaps and fighting bosses, but like everything, it's always trying to subvert how you did it before. It's trying to change out how you solved your progression through this, and dear Lord, that's just leaving out all the cool stuff that I can only spoil the one first special mission because Alex has finally done it. So in Astrobot, they have each end of the world ends in a big boss, and then after that big boss, you get introduced to a character of PlayStation history, and then you go to their world. And so Alex has now done the God of War world, which he played that. And like Alex was kind of leading up. He's like, I don't get what people are talking about. And while I don't agree with that, because I was kind of in from the get-go of like, this is awesome. It's not, it's definitely a very PlayStation 3 platformer. It's not like you don't have the move set of Mario. You just have basically a double jump. Your second jump is a laser. You have the big
it's like Knack.
crash spin move. It's like Knack with substance. So I feel like Knack was very repetitive. Knack is like you're doing the same thing. You run, you go punch, boom, boom. But like Astrobot, like it's you're set with this arsenal of different abilities that they give you. There's even a boss battle where you're fighting and it has like a roulette wheel and you basically like have to hit a button, whatever and it gives you the ability that the roulette lands on. So it's just like completely that boss battle completely changed every time. But it's just how it's such a creative game and also visually like how they characterize everything. So each of the boss levels that aren't like, themed or whatever, like I kept laughing every time because of certain things they do while you're fighting them. And you're like, this is so goofy, but I'm enjoying it so much. But just how the world kind of culminates in the design intention and the characteristics. Like it's not, and that's where I'll lead to my one of my big complaints is like, you have all these interesting bosses. Like one that sticks out a lot to me is an octopus in the second world before you actually do the God of War one. And it's like these creative ways, just, I don't know. There's just so much character to it. And then the big boss of the whole thing is so lame. Like the beginning of the game, you're on the PlayStation 5, which is your spaceship, which is from like the playroom demo thing was kind of the idea of being inside it, whatever. And you're in space and it's literally just a green alien on a UFO. And that's the big boss. And it's like,
dumb.
I was like, maybe they're gonna do something different in the end. Maybe they're gonna have something come in and be cool. No, it's just this. It's just this green alien. And so that's like the dumbest thing because like every other boss is super interesting and super creative. And then you have that stupid green alien.
That'd be funny. It was just like terrible looking alien too.
It's super bland. It's nothing interesting at all. Like
it is very boring.
It's very bland and boring. I was like, where was
like
this
the
idea?
Toy Story.
Now that I know that is the final boss, that is disappointing because it's like I kind of thought that he was kind of leading you to something.
Now I will say,
I was like, what is like a PlayStation alien reference? And I was like, I don't know,
but I will say that the actual boss of them is a lot of fun, and this game has to have the best credit sequence I've ever played in my life. 100%. Like there's a lot of games where you can do some fun things, like Smash Bros has cheap other names.
The shooting.
This one's the best by far. It's so good.
Huh.
So that was very exciting to get to. But like, and then I like it with the boss battle again at the end, like the initial lead up to the fight. Completely different than anything you've done in the entire game. And I was like, this is so, it mixes a couple of genres and ideas. And I was like, this is genius. But it's like, that's what it changes with every level and every world you go to. And then they have so many surprises, like all of the PlayStation characters you can get. You get 300 and some odd Astrobots that are, a lot of them are like you. And then a lot of them have like costumes like Crash or whatever. You can get outfits. Like I wore the Bloodborne outfit while I was trying to platinum everything. But they keep all that so creative. And then, I lost track of where I was going with initially with that. I don't remember. Anyway, we'll go to the God of War one. So whenever you actually get to these end worlds, so there's 4 different ones that you get to. And the first one, like I said, we played was God of War, and you basically run into at the end after beating the octopus. They showed it in the trailer, so they show God of War and what can't I think of his name? Atreus?
Kratos and Atreus,
and they're sitting on a boat, whatever, and you basically like they get on your ship with you, and you go to their world, whatever, and it starts off and you land, and they're over there chopping stuff, and then Kratos kind of looks at you, and he just like throws his axe over, and there's this cute little cutscene where he like tries to pick up the axe and pick it up, and he ends up getting the powers of Kratos. You're basically just Kratos, like you have to throw the frost axe, and you draw it back to you, and you're swinging around fighting like that, and it has all these Easter eggs with the world and everything. It's I don't know, it's so genius and so satisfying to like, because you're playing through all these Hattie, stop it. You're playing with all these worlds that are so creative, but also leading you to that excitement of which one's this going to be? What's this end world going to be? There was one that I wasn't familiar with. Hold on a second.
She's in trouble.
Oh, trouble.
She dumps her head and walks off. But there was one that I've never played the game, so I wasn't familiar with. But like the other three, I was like, the whole time I'm like, who is it going to be? I bet it's going to be this. And then get to it. Oh, no, it wasn't that one this time. And then the last one, I didn't even think of the last world that ends up coming up. And I was like, oh, it's going to be this. I know 100%. And I get there, I'm like, how did I not think of this? How on earth? And it's so good too. But that's also
it's
a
knack, baby.
It's knack. Yeah. You do find the Astrobot knack somewhere, and I was laughing. I was like, oh, poor buddy, come here. You can come back to the world for this.
That alien design was worse than I thought.
It's really bad. It's really bad. But it was just so surprising because everything else is so creative, like I said. But then going to the oh man, one of my favorite bits. So the game is, like I said, I said on the bonus stuff, it's fairly easy in the sense of like very Ghostrunner, like checkpoints out the wazoo. You get to be safe zones the whole time. You do only have one hit unless you're in a final boss, and you have 3 hits. But it's very simple that way. But then in each of the galaxies, or each of the preceding 4 galaxies, you find one of the sacred symbols. I think I mentioned this too, but and then you get 4 challenge areas with it. So it's basically like it's I don't even know how to describe this. It's like 3D Super Meat Boy or something like that. Super challenging. And there are some where I was literally like smacking my couch trying to figure out this stupid freaking puzzle, or like not puzzle, but get through this. It's basically I'm trying to think of a good example. I don't even know, but the one we did last night was for spoilers for anyone who cares. Give you few seconds. At the end of the game, there is a master basically challenge, whatever. So you do all the sacred symbol challenges, and then at the end you have the secret area you go up, and it's just like this, like probably 2 or 3 times longer challenge that Johnny and Ari were over, because I was just kind of showing him the game, and I was trying to avoid spoilers for Alex, but Alex was like, I don't care about this, but I was like, okay. And I don't know. I love that they added it pretty much everything for everyone. Like it's super satisfying to play through the whole thing. The gameplay's amazing. It keeps everything so fresh. Like that's one thing I kind of think back to Odyssey. Like Odyssey's a great game, but I got kind of pretty bored in Odyssey. I was like, there's a lot of repetitive stuff. I'm doing the same thing. I feel like nothing's fresh and new. And this is like every corner I turned, something was new. Even at the end of the game, like, because there were some levels I didn't go to, and so some of the abilities that he has, I was like, I haven't even seen this before. What is this thing? And then you end up going back to those levels and learning, oh, okay, so this is where this one comes into play. But like, there's so much more than I expected to this game. And I don't know, it's just utterly fantastic and a delight to play, man. I don't know.
Do they have a Toy Pop world?
They didn't have a Toy Pop world.
I
That's
wish.
very sad. There are so many of the bots, and I'm like, I have no idea who this is though.
Yeah.
So many of the placing characters, I'm like, I can't. Of course, it's also kind of hard to tell because they are, bots wearing costumes. But I don't know. I found this game utterly delightful and super, super engaging. Like it's just one of those I didn't want to ever put down.
I'd love to play it. The way you're talking about it, and
it's just it's so, I don't know, just varied and
very old school.
It's like, yeah, but it's also like super creative and fresh. Like I feel like I've never played a 3D platformer like this. I don't know. It's a very interesting game, and it's like not too long. It's long enough to where like I felt satisfied with the length that I was with it, even though I would definitely want more, like DLC or something like that. Bring it on, bring more PlayStation worlds. That'd be awesome. But I don't know.
Huh.
I feel like it was dope though. I love it. It's so good. So good. But I was saying with Johnny and Ari, they were watching me play it, and Ari turns to Johnny. She's like, can we go home and get this right now? It was great though. I love the game. Super. And then the only thing I did was I played like 5 minutes of Black Myth before this.
Oh,
So
you
I
said
didn't
you would
beat that
finish
game?
it.
It took me longer to platinum the Astrobot than I thought it was going to. Also, because you dragged me to a movie this week, Thomas, and then I did something else for another day.
Thomas, it's your
Thomas's
fault.
It's your fault, Thomas.
Well, probably.
But yeah, so yeah, 100%. I can't see this not being my game of the year. It's so good, so freaking good.
Is there anything left this year?
Dragon Age.
That's this year. Wow.
Yeah, it's not.
People are hyped on it, man.
People are
everyone who's
loving
played
Except
it.
for that
People-
whole
people
choose your own
who-
difficulty thing.
I didn't
Well,
see that.
people who haven't really played like old Dragon Age are loving it, but I don't know.
Apparently, this new Warhammer game is supposed to be really good.
Yeah,
well,
Jackson wouldn't shut up about it the other day.
I know. Yeah, he won't.
I want to play that really badly, but I don't have the money to play it right now.
Definitely more. I'm trying to think of. There was one more that was.
Yeah, what is
interesting.
there?
Supposedly, the next Metal Gear Solid remasters are coming out, so that's just an ad. It's not new, but it's
Yeah.
something.
I once played an RPG. I can't remember what it was, but you go to this like cemetery, and all the tombstones are like the people who made it. It's kind of cool.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really
That sounds
Grim,
familiar.
but-
Yeah.
That sounds familiar. What is that?
I don't know. I can't remember what game it was. It was an RPG. I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, we should talk a little bit about the Black Ops. What it was Black Ops 6 beta that came out. I only got to play a little bit of it. I know Michael played more of it than I did. So, what did you think of it? For me, it seemed a little arcadey, the shooting, but that's just how I felt. But what did you feel?
So, what do you mean by arcadey?
Kind of like it's faster paced than I like used to from the other COD games, the multiplayer ones. And I don't know, for some reason, it felt like I was in arcade, like shooting a gun. I don't know how to explain it, but that's how
I know.
feel.
I do know what you mean. It's definitely more of a Treyarch kind of. I feel like their game's a little more fun, in my opinion, than Modern Warfare, because they're like trying to realism and slow pacedness. But I feel like it's an interesting beta because I definitely prefer. I won't lie. I'm Black Ops games. I definitely prefer over any of the other ones. They just feel better and play better to me. Multiplayer wise, they have a lot of interesting modes that they show. I mean, they only had a few in the beta, but they had the one where basically you have a bounty. Will you stop squeaking? Thank you. They basically you're like 6v6, but you have like a bounty on the other team that you have to kill, and they have plates. I like that mode a lot. It was very cool.
That
So
was
you had
fun,
someone to protect, you had someone to hunt. That was interesting. They do have a proclivity to quick scoping, which I've never been the biggest fan of because it's just like you get boffed and you're dead in an instant. Because we were like, are they cheating? What is going on? Then I literally killed it, picked up a sniper, was like, oh, they're not cheating. This is just really easy. So then I just ran around doing that for a while. It feels good. The new thing is the Omni movement, so you can run, slide, dive in any direction.
Yeah.
Took me a second to get used to because I guess, which I didn't even realize, but when I back up and I'll like from a fight and I back up and I'll crouch, I didn't realize I hold the button, so I would just start sliding backwards. I'm like, where am I going? that was interesting and odd. At the maps, I definitely like Treyarch knows how to make their maps, which is interesting. With they have the Resurgence map for Warzone is going to be a Nuketown expansion, and initially in the preview we saw the people playing at COD Next, whatever, it's very brown, kind of dull looking. They took the feedback in. They said, hey, we are working on that until it comes out. It will be more colorful. So that's very exciting because I feel like Treyarch is normally super colorful. And I was like, what is this? Looks like a burnt desert. What's going on? So they're apparently addressing that. But so I'm excited for that integration. And hopefully apparently, so whenever the game comes out there, I was watching a Jacob video and he was talking about that a lot of the mechanics, even though we're not getting a new big map, all of the stuff's coming in. So they're getting rid of the backpacks, thank God, because it's stupid system in that dumb game. They're getting rid of several different things. I think they're adding all the Omni movement into all of Warzone. Like it's going to be very different come November. So let's say, or I guess that's October 26th or something like that. But the Warzone
they're putting
integration later.
They're putting Carhartt into it.
Carhartt everywhere. I don't know. I think
Thomas
That'd be
buys
on
the
a
battle
Ghost-
pass.
that's definitely a Ghost Recon
true.
thing. It would be in that.
All the customizations with the hats and everything.
Weirdly enough, all the Ghost Recon stuff is all Oakley stuff. There's no Carhartt.
Yeah, that's true.
Or in 511.
Dang.
What are they thinking, T? What are they thinking?
Well, those
The
two are
next
like
one, man. The
major
next one.
sponsors of just stuff like that in general. So
But yeah.
All right.
I'm excited though.
Optimism.
A slight, like I'm not like going bananas, but I think it'll be a refreshing because we've been.
Do you think Verdansk could take that Omni movement stuff.
I'm curious what they're gonna do with that because that's supposedly coming in March of next year, and it's like,
they just had it. Why did they get rid of it?
Is Treyarch going to have any say? Because it's going to be adjusted. There's no way it's not going to be adjusted.
Yeah. Well, because they kind of delayed it.
Yeah. So I'm like, just let Treyarch take control. Let them adjust it how they want it. Don't let Sledgehammer put any of their fingers on it whatsoever. Yeah. Just I don't know. It's interesting.
I don't think I've played a Call of Duty in like 6 months. I just haven't. Never had the chance to.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't buy the last one.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
I'm done with that nonsense. But
all right, Thomas.
Optimism.
What do you got for us?
Weirdly enough, I played and beat Persona 4 and 5.
Wow, both of them. You got through the
That's a lot.
Well, okay, so we're gonna go on Persona 4 first. So, played Persona Royal. First time ever playing Persona 4. I said not Royal. Golden. Sorry, Golden. Never played Persona 4 ever. It's kind of a blind playthrough. I got the bad ending first.
Oh.
I was like, I don't know what I did. I didn't push the guy in, but nobody likes me anymore. And then the fog never lifted. I was just like,
this sucks.
I was like, oh crap. Whoops. So, but luckily, like it tells you, like, are you sure you want to do this? Do you want to try again? I'm like, yeah, I think I want to try again. So I did that. Finally beat it. I don't know if I like this one more than 5. The dialogue is definitely hilarious. Especially what's his name? Kanji, the tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
That dude is freaking hilarious. He's like, all right, I tried. Now I want my animal crackers. I'm just like, I relate to Kanji a lot, actually. Yeah.
Troy Baker. Yeah. I was about to
say. He's great in there. Teddy was all right.
Teddy's great.
He's the best.
The thing is I think he wasn't as useful as Morgana, I think, in the fourth one, but definitely there were some really hilarious parts with Teddy, especially with when he was working in June S. I think it's him and what's his face, your best friend, the guy with the headphones.
Ryuji?
No, that's the second one.
Fifth one.
Sosuke or
no, Sosuke, yeah. Or Yosuke.
Yeah.
Him and Teddy together, hilarious. It's basically Bad Boys 2. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. The gameplay was interesting. The what do you call it? It's not the palaces, but the worlds or whatever. The navigation for that was really weird at times, especially when you got to the later stuff where it's like basically puzzles on how to figure out how to navigate stuff. I was just like, okay, my brain's kind of hurting here.
It's like the third one,
but definitely a lot darker than the fifth one, just in general, like tone wise, because you're dealing with a murderer and a murder like investigation.
Yeah.
Love the feel of it because it still has like that. I'm glad they didn't completely clean up the graphics for the royal one, or sorry, the golden one, because it still has like that grainy PS2 kind of feel, and I like that. Just makes it more nostalgic, I guess. But yeah, that was really good. I was very impressed with it. Who did y'all romance, by the way?
Chie.
That's who I
first
did.
time it was the other one, the one in red. What's her name?
Wow, of course.
Oh, her?
Yeah.
The in girl?
Yeah.
This is so boring.
It is boring. I wanted to romance the detective, but I saw how Kanji was like super crushing.
Yeah.
I was just like, can't do that to Kanji. Kanji's pretty cool. Damn it. I guess I'll romance GA, whatever. She's cool. She's pretty powerful as like a character, so it's kind of fun. And then I finally played Persona 5 Royal. It's the big one.
The boat game.
Yeah.
Okay.
got through the boat. So here's the thing though. So there's an extra palace, an extra character. I forgot to max out one of my confidants. And so I just played through the regular game. I did not get the extra palace or that. And I did not know that until I was done. I was like, all right, cool, we're done, right? And it's like, bye. And I'm like, oh crap. And I looked up, it was like, I had rank 8 on this guy. I was supposed to have rank 10. I was like, son of a bitch. And,
bummer.
and the thing is that it's not one of those small, like, oh, if I go back to this save, I can redo it. No, it's like 4 months back.
Jeez.
So I'm just screwed. I had to play it all over again if I want to get the extra pallets, which I'm kind of debating because it's one of okay. So the only thing I'm doing is schoolwork and Persona. That's all I've done. I'm thinking about doing Persona 3, but I kind of needed a break from Persona style games because my mind was kind of doing the same thing over and over
After
again.
400 hours. Yeah, I imagine.
Weirdly enough, I beat the 5th one in under 100, like barely under 100. But the thing is, I had to
do that.
Yeah, you missed the whole palace.
Well, the thing is that no, I mean, like when I first played Persona 5, it was like almost 120 something hours.
Yeah, I heard they tightened it up in Royal.
Well, the thing is that I also had everything set on fast forward. I didn't need to know everything because I knew everything.
Yeah.
You
are God.
I fought and killed God is what I did. But apparently that's all Persona games. But yeah, I mean, it's still a lot of fun. I love 5 just because that was my first one. I also love the cityscapes and everything else like that. Because honestly, and one of the reasons I'm kind of playing Persona is because I'm kind of getting my head space like to go to Japan, and so I'm trying to mark some of the places I want to go because I'm going to be staying.
Fighting a lot of demons in Japan.
Maybe you don't know. You don't know, Joe. You're not going to Japan. You don't know.
I wouldn't recommend going into high schools, Thomas. So.
I'm not going to go there. But yeah, no, I really love 5 just in general. So it's a lot of fun to play again, and I am debating playing it again. So this would be my third go around with Persona 5, almost as much as Death Stranding. But I tried playing Death Stranding, but with the platinum, I don't want to do the platinum. I don't care. I don't care about the platinum.
Sometimes they're not fun. Yeah.
Well,
The Last of Us, both of them are some of my favorite games, and I'm like, I'm never going to get
Such
that
bad
platinum.
platinums.
Yeah, it's so unnecessary, and I literally have 3. It's the only ones I need. But I'm like, I don't really care. Like I'd rather just start the game over and play it over again. So, but I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do Persona 3, not Edge Runners. That's Cyberpunk or Ghostrunner. So I don't know. We'll see. And so something about my Cyberpunk though. Again, it kept dying on me every time I got to that one specific scene. So I had to take apart my PlayStation, completely dust it out. I mean, it was pretty filthy. It needed it, but a spider came out of the cooling fan.
He was the one hitting pause every time.
Yeah. But I literally freaked out and just went like, bam. So
that's funny you say that because Persona 4 on my Vita, I've gotten to like through the first palace, wherever the heck of world or whatever it is in that, and my Vita dies every time. And it'll kill the save every time after I finish that. So I've never played that game.
Oh my gosh.
Because my Vita won't play that game.
That's the thing is I think it corrupted my save file when it kept like failing. Because every time I got even close to being near that cutscene, it would just die. So
I played it on my PS TV. That's where I played it. So
the few
I might have to lend it for
I could download it on my PS because it's cross by I think with Vita, but I was just like, be fun to play on the Vita, have it around. But
Persona 4 Golden is on the PlayStation network. That's how I played it. But it was a lot of fun. I like those mid 2010 2000 or late 2000 video games. Like I'm kind of interested in playing Silent Hill 2 coming out. Oh, Silent Hill 2 that comes out.
I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
But I just like that old school like old game feeling, especially around that time. I really don't like too retro because then the gameplay kind of drags me down. I get kind of frustrated with gameplay, but stuff like that, I really love that stuff. So that's all I got, I think.
Nice.
Jared, back in time for your turn.
All right. So when we said we were going to do games stuff or whatever, I was like, I wasn't into it because I didn't have a game that I was really into. So my heart wasn't in it. But I played something this weekend, and my heart was in it. So I've been in this like gaming rut where I'm like on Game Pass, and I'm like, I don't want to play that. And then like Alex, I want to play something from this year, but nothing looked interesting. And then I saw Forklift Simulator. So I was like, maybe I'll play that. But it was like $15, and I didn't feel like I should pay $15 for
Forklifts.
When you've done work.
But say thing you've done all your life.
So I went on Game Pass, and then I downloaded Star Trucker. So this weekend I put on my hat, and then I started driving in space, guys.
Space truckers.
This game was hard. So that my first playthrough, I didn't know what to do really. It gives you like a little bit of guidance. But you have to take your first haul to its destination. I ran out of oxygen because I kept hitting debris, and so I had a bunch of leaks. And you have to go patch them up real fast, or you'll die. So I kept having trouble with that. I kept running out of oxygen, so I had to go to the repair shop, and it takes like $1,000 out of your account. That happened twice, and then one time I didn't go to the weigh station before I went on my journey, and then I got more deduction. And then you have to keep up systems in your truck, so like your artificial gravity, your oxygen, all your thrusters and stuff like that, with like power cells, air filters and stuff like that. And those run out after a while. And so it was like real life. I was just living paycheck to paycheck, job by job. And so I was so frustrated. And I was like, I think I was like 5,000 in debt. And so I was like, man, I just had a bad go on the first try. So I restarted it. I did a lot better. I watched out for debris, because if you just like just barely tap things, hull breach, and I'm like, God. So I learned to be more careful. I did the weigh-in stuff. I had to learn how to like plan my routes out, because I'd just be like, oh, I'll go take that, come back. But then I wasn't getting enough money, because stupid repairs take up like most of your paycheck. And I was like, dang it, I can't make it in this galaxy. So I planned my routes better. But by the time like today, I was just like driving, I was honking my horn. You can have a radio. They have a radio with like a bunch of like I guess original music and stuff like that. But I was like, this game is perfect for just like watching YouTube or watching a podcast or something like that. So it's like the perfect game for me right now, because I love playing games with watching podcasts or YouTube. But if it has a story, you have to stop, pause, and then like watch it, unpause.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so it's perfect for that. Thank God there's a little manual like in your dashboard, because I was like, how do I dock? Because you have to like dock to the like gas up. You have to dock to go to the shops and stuff like that.
Space buggies.
And I just go like, go ahead?
I was going to say, you use the in-game in-truck manual to figure out how to dock.
So
was there a space DOT that you had to be aware of?
Yes. So I was backing up, got like super right onto the dock. I was like, man, even in space, I'm a pro at this. But I was like, how do I use my magnetic locks? I don't understand. You just had to back up a little bit more. And I was like, dang it. And then there's like the switch to your left, and then you go.
I like that you chose not to play the forklift simulator one, but you chose to do the other thing that you did for a while.
I've never driven a big rig. So
I mean, you drove 26 footers.
That's not the real deal, man. You got to drive standard big rig. Yeah, got to go through the
got to kill a prostitute at a gas station.
He just loves that episode from Cowboy Bebop so much. The space.
I do love that episode.
Heavy Metal Queen. It's a good
But yeah,
episode.
there's some dudes that like some veteran drivers that help you. You have your little CB radio. You're like 10-4, good buddy, and then I don't know. It's really fun. I really enjoyed it. It's gotten me out of that rut. But yeah, it's hard. I always feel like I'm living paycheck to paycheck. It's just like real life. I'm like, I need
hard
I need
making
to
a
go back
living.
to college and get a degree because I can't live like this. But it's super fun. I like it. It's a lot of. So I'm playing it on the recommended difficulty. There's 2 above that. I can't even imagine because there's like hardcore. I'm like, dude, I'd be stressed out of my mind. There's probably like more knobs. you have to hit.
One like micro particle of an asteroid hull breach decompression. He's dead.
Because there's on the top dash, there's like these where you have to turn off like your thrusters and stuff like that to come to a complete stop. And the recommended difficulty, you don't have to do that. So I'm guessing in the hardcore you do, and I'm like, jeez. But my favorite runs are the fragile hulls. So you have to be super careful, drive like steady, or like the glass or stuff is gonna break. So
The more and more I hear about, you just need to play Death Stranding, dude. Like seriously,
No, I don't want to walk with a
delivery.
backpack. I want to drive. And
you can drive. You just have to build the roads. That's all you have to do. So honestly, you're just embracing your Mexican side if you just do that.
You
And then
can try. You just gotta go get out and build the road.
Yeah, exactly.
But dude, I'm getting it. I'm doing like these maneuvers now in there because I'm getting better at it, and I'm doing like barrel rolls. I'm loving it.
Oh, I'm sorry. All I can see is Jason Jared in his spacesuit, like, all right, going for the hard brake. Cut thrusters.
They do have an emergency e-brake, and I haven't had to use it yet, but I want to. I want to drift. But yeah,
Pass
super
signs
fun.
that says no engine brakes on the freeway.
Yeah,
Spaceway.
yeah.
Oh, there's jump gates.
Oh no!
Oh, he died.
Oh,
The spacers got him.
yeah.
The space DOT finally pulled him over.
The system,
Operating
the
without a
system
license.
trooper.
Well, the thing is that Jared was truly Star Trekking out there, but
Yeah.
you know, so
It's true.
all
Star
right.
Trek delivery.
I
Since-
guess.
Jared has been taken by the void.
Yeah, I guess I'll go into my stuff. So I haven't been able to get to new games just because I've been playing Super Mega Baseball all the time, which is this very cartoonish baseball game. But it has like full control of you could build a league. So anytime you can do that, I get stuck in those games. But yeah, it's been fun. The one new game I did play I checked out was Dungeons of Hinterberg, which is on Game Pass. So it's like a dungeon crawler, kind of Zelda-esque game. So tell me if you heard this before. Magical gates have opened up across the world, and people go in them and fight monsters, and it's like a vacation for them. They fight monsters and get treasure.
Solo leveling.
Yeah, so basically that. So this one opens up in, where are you? I think you're in a Norwegian town or something like that. So you're like this lawyer that wants to go on vacations because she's tired of being a lawyer. So she's like, I'll go fight monsters in the dungeon. And she does that, and you get swords and stuff like that. You get each world each gate you go into has its own magics. Kind of like magic tools. You get like a long range magic thing, and like it's like a ball and you throw it and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool the way they work it. It's not a very hard game. It has like the dungeons rated for you, so you're like, oh, I'm not at that level yet, but I went through a couple where I wasn't at the level yet and I still beat them, so it's not that hard. I liked it. It's fun. The story wasn't much. I mean, it goes kind of into the modern-ish, where like the business people are evil and stuff like that, and you got to do it for the love of, magic and stuff like that.
I love of magic.
Yeah, but it didn't really get in the way of like the game enjoyment itself. So, yeah, it's all based on like Scandinavian mythology. So like the first boss you fight is the Krampus. So it's got a bunch of that stuff. Yeah, it was pretty good. I give it like maybe a B, solid B for the letter grade. Yeah, so that I'm stuck on Super Mega Baseball, man. I love running franchises and stuff like that. So, so that's all I've gotten to, though. But yeah, I guess we'll find out what happened to Jared on this side. But do you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about?
I guess while we wait, I can give my thoughts on Astrobot, even though it's a lot later than what we were talking about. So I kind of went in like I loved the Astro's Playroom pack-in that came with PS5. What?
Sorry. Jerry dismissed. His cat unplugged the router.
So in the chat it says, "Little man unplugged my router." So
Is it the cat or does he have a little man in there?
Oh, yeah, true.
Get back in your hole.
Get back underneath the desk, you freak.
Dang.
Anyway, so Astro's Playroom came with the PS5, and I thought it was absolutely delightful. I loved it. And I even was like, man, they should make a full game of this. And then I saw the trailer for the new one, and I was like, it just kind of looks like the same thing to me. And it is, but I'm starting to be won over. I'm still pretty early. I'd probably like, I don't know, Michael, like a fifth through it?
Next, you've done 2 worlds, so there's 5
but with all the
worlds.
extra stuff and everything.
Yeah, they've
Anyway.
like secret galaxy worlds, but
Yeah, but I said the God of War thing won me over while I was like smiling ear to ear. Like it's very endearing because I'm very kind of anti fan service in general, unless I guess that's the whole point. Because like Smash Bros is just fan service, really, and then so is Astrobot. So like I don't know. I feel weirdly conflicted, but the more I go through it, the more it is very delightful. It is kind of just a celebration of PlayStation's catalog, and it is winning me over. I think the problem is I wish they'd done more almost with the gameplay, where like Michael said, it is very simple, and I wish they'd given you like more of a move set that would be like more satisfying. But each level does kind of come with a gimmick. Like there's this one level where you can shrink yourself into like mouse size.
that one's so satisfying.
That one's very fun. And then there's another level where you can slow down time for a little bit. And,
I wonder if you got to that one yet.
Yeah,
like, you basically put the PSVR on.
Yeah. So it's very, very good. I think I'm coming around. I think that people are a little overhyping it.
Oh no!
But I think that I also haven't beaten it, and I think I was just wanting more. But I think the more I go through, the more I'm really enjoying it. So it is very good. Like that octopus level, I hadn't played that whenever I was first like. I wasn't ragging on it, but Michael was like disappointed that I wasn't like bouncing off the walls for the game. And
because I've been sitting in my living room laughing by myself for hours at the stupid game.
I was doing that during the God of War level. I was laughing every time you respawn when you're the little version of God of War. He's like, and I don't know, it's very funny. So anyway, that was my thoughts.
Persona costume for it.
They had Joker in there, but just as one of the guys you can find.
You can't wear I don't know why they don't do it where just make it to where you can use any of the costumes. I guess that it's like 300, but,
a lot, but
they've already made them. I don't really get why they don't let you do it. But
you look good as a Jack Frost. If you remember that monster.
Jack Frost
from Persona.
Oh yeah.
I'll say the Persona one?
Yeah.
Never played Persona.
I'm thinking of like gotcha.
The movie.
Yeah. I had like 3 things in mind.
I was thinking Snowman. I was like
Michael Keaton.
All right, Jared, where were you? What were you saying?
What
were you saying?
Anything left?
Oh, I didn't have anything else to say. I just said I was really enjoying it.
Okay.
Nice.
So
I said I would recommend it.
The little man himself is
this
here.
Guy, bad man.
Bad man. All right. I think that's going to do it unless we have any other comments or concerns. No. All right, so that's it for game stuff this time. Like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff to come. And we will see you next time. Bye.